Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this video. My name is J.Sobko, and I am here to answer the following questions for my SPMA marketing take home test. So, I'm just going to start us off very quickly as I only have 15 minutes maximum. Just getting into question one or immediately. So, when we look at Maslow's hierarchy, the social needs level is all about belonging, relationships, and also feeling connected to others. So if we take the example of a mid-level executive that's playing in a weekend golf charity event sponsored by his company, I don't really think it's about golf. I think it's more about, a connection. First it gives him a sense of belonging. Being there shows he's a part of the company and a part of the culture just outside of the work hours as well. Second, it also builds relationships. So golf events are networking gold mines, as are any events. So it's easier to build trust on a golf course than it is in a boardroom as you're outside of work, and it shows that you're more caring towards the situation. Um, Third, there's also just a social recognition. So being visible at a company charity event signals involvement and leadership potential as well. And fourth and foremost, there's shared purpose. So because it's a charity event, everyone is coming together around something that's meaningful, which strengthens social bonds as well. So at the social needs level, the motivation isn't really money or security. It's about more connection and more about feeling, the relationships between people that you have within the work, within the industry, within all these events. So moving on to question two. So starting off with question two, what are two differences between spectators and participants? So two differences that really stand out to me personally are physical involvement as well as motivation. So, first of all, starting off with physical involvement, participants are actually playing, so they need equipment, training, and time as well. Spectators, on the other hand, are just consuming, the actual experience. For example, someone playing in a men's baseball league like the Blue Jays, a game is very different for someone attending a Jays game compared to, obviously a player playing in the game. Second is motivation. So participants are often more motivated by fitness and the competition or the skill development, compared to spectators are being more motivated by the entertainment, the escape of the actual game, or like the emotional attachment. As I personally do, I work with the Blue Jays, so I see how spectators are buying more than just a baseball. There's merchandise being sold. There's an emotional attachment to it. So you know, they're buying the atmosphere, the social time, and the memories compared to players being paid to do it. So, there is a difference, I think, personally. So, moving on from question two, I'm going to be starting on question three, which is how, sport differs from other entertainments. So, starting off with sports, it is a type of entertainment, but it's very different from movies or concerts. So, first, with any type of sport, using baseball as an example for mainly all of this, as that's my favorite sport, the uncertainty is always an outcome of the sport. So, if you watch a movie, you already know what the ending is. You already know what the ending of a show is. There could be a little bit of difference with a concert. You may not know what the last song is, but with sports, you never really know what's going to happen. The length of the game, what the actual final is, how it ends, kind of anything like that. As well as, there's an emotional investment with sports. So fans stay loyal even through losing seasons. Like I know I've stayed loyal with the Blue Jays after their big 2015-2016 run. They were kind of slowing down a little bit. And now here we are again. As well as, other teams, Leafs, Raptors, Toronto FC, how they did great in 2017. And now here we are. Can barely win a game. So it's not great. Third, sport represents identity. So the Blue Jays represent Toronto as well as Canada, as we've seen in the World Series, what just happened to not even Toronto, but Canada, like the whole country when we were playing baseball. Different stadiums in different provinces were set up for people watching. Like it was a major thing for our country, and that's represented all the time. As well as, sport has a competitive structure. That hits on the difference of what people really love with sports, why it's a competitive nature, right, compared to movies or anything else. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. As well as I believe that it is very important that sport has a seasonal narrative. Like with football, the snow games, I went to a Bill Snow game that was amazing. There's opening day for baseball. There's Canada Day we have, which is amazing. There's rival series. There's you know, different series throughout the season that makes it special. And then sixth and finally, the dual product consumption. So when fans come to the Rogers Center, they're not just consuming baseball, they're consuming the food, the music, the promotions, the mascots, and the entire event experience. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. And I just believe that that makes sport marketing, way more dynamic than marketing a one-time event. It's over times and it's multiple times. So I believe that it's just a lot stronger in my opinion. So moving on to question 4, a quick little SWOT analysis for the Blue Jays of 2026, as I'm working for the Blue Jays and as I've said many times, favorite team. So a SWOT analysis looks at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, hence the name SWOT. Strengths and weaknesses are internal, and opportunities and threats are external. Looking at the Blue Jays heading in the 2026 season after a strong 2025 season, focusing on fans, the strengths are there's a huge momentum. Winning builds hype, which drives ticket demand, which drives fans. Also, the Rogers Center renovations have really improved the fan experience over the years. So kind of everything that we're moving into this season makes it really big this year. I think the weaknesses for it are ticket pricing, as it is with any event. Ticket pricing is awful. I hate it. It's bad. It's really bad. It can limit accessibility through pricing, through how many tickets there are. As well as expectations are high now. So if the performance drops with the ticket prices going up, it could lead to a spiral, which isn't good. So a few opportunities. I think that there's a big opportunity in enhancing fan engagement through social media, as well as the behind-the-scenes content. Also, expanding theme nights as well as promotional events can attract new segments, but this season is looking pretty good. We're doing a lot of things. I'm finally learning some of the insider information, so there's a lot of promotional events this year. This is the most that they've done. So it's going to be it's going to be a good season, I believe. There's a lot of opportunities for the company this year. And then I think just the threats, like Toronto's a competitive sport market, right? Toronto Raptors, the Leafs, they compete for entertainment and dollars. So just economic pressures could also be reduced just to, different spending and how the year pans out, whatever. But just from a fan perspective, as well as now an employee, maintaining excitement and value perception is just the key to success, I believe, for any industry. So, yeah. So moving on from the SWOT analysis, I bring you question 5, which is how I would go about branding a new NBA team. So to start off, if an NBA team was created, I think branding should start off with just simple research, just understanding the city's culture, the demographics, as well as like the little information that many other people may not know. Like with Toronto, the Six, or OVO, or something like that, how it's more important to us than it would be to other people, obviously. Following that is just identity creation. So it's the name, the logo, the colors, the mascot, anything that will reflect the personality of the team in the city. And then up next, just positioning. How do you want other people to see this team? Are we young and fast-paced? Are we defensive and gritty? There needs to be signs that people can understand what this team is and what they show. After that is just communication. So launching the team now via anything like social media, partnerships, merchandise, and community events. And then finally, just brand equity. I believe that it's built over time through consistent performances and positive fan experiences. So working in baseball now and being a baseball fan throughout my years, and just a Toronto fan in general, I see how strong that branding is, and I see how it builds emotional loyalty just beyond wins and losses. It builds, you're emotionally impacted by this team, and you have a connection with the team. So, that's how I would go about it personally. And yeah. So moving on to question 6, we're going to talk about moving beyond pink it and shrink it, in quotations. So pink it and shrink it assumed women only wanted smaller pink merchandise. That obviously clearly underestimated female fans. Now, sports has improved, and here's a couple reasons why. So, just to start, first off, offering stylish, authentic women's apparel, not just resized men's gear or recycled gear or anything like that. Second is just investing more into women's sports and visibility, as we know, what the market is now with all these new leagues that are becoming greater and greater and greater as time goes on, and it's amazing. Third is just improving stadium experiences, to feel more inclusive, more safe, as, again, with the Rogers Center, we've had many, many, many years of construction going on, but it's made the fan experience way better throughout the years for both concerts and any sporting events that happen there. And then fourth is just using marketing campaigns that feature women, as serious fans, which has impacted the love of sports throughout all of our generation. I believe that teams can improve, by increasing women in executive leadership. I believe it's getting a lot better now as time goes on, but just ensuring equal marketing budgets, making sure that there's more research on female fans and preferences, just instead of assuming. Just as the female market is growing, and it should be treated as a core audience as well. So I believe that that answers the pink and trinket question. Moving on to question 7, I'm going to be talking about just the basis of segmentation. So there's 4 main bases of segmentation. I'll just give you it and then explain it really quickly using an example. Starting off, one of the main bases is geographic. So that's location-based marketing, meaning, as an example, the Blue Jays target fans all across Canada as their market is the country, as we're the only major league team in the country. So they have to target Canada and not just Toronto. Demographic is the second one. So that's like your age, your income, your gender. For example, student discounts will obviously target younger fans, a younger audience than it would, an older fan, because there's more students that are a younger audience at that kind of demographic level. Third is psychographic, so that's lifestyles and or values. So like a corporate suit marketing targets business professionals who value, your status and your networking and how you look compared to someone who, is working construction. And then finally, it's just behavioral. So based on, your loyalty or usage. So an example is just like a season ticket holder. They'll get perks and they'll get exclusive things towards them just because, they're higher value customers. So finally, just wrapping it up, I believe, segmentation is way more effective than mass marketing, just due to the fact that it focuses on a higher ROI and higher ROI groups instead of just treating everyone the same. Yeah. Moving on to question 8 is just diversion, and kind of an example of diversion with the Raptors. So kind of what diversion means is just escaping daily stress. So as we know, sports provides emotional release and social excitement. This drives, attendance, because people want to break from their routine. People want to go out. People want to, just have a little bit of happiness in their life, which is what I believe sports provides, as everyone would, because we're all in sport management. So right now, the Raptors is the main example, but you can use any other sports team. But they use theme nights, cultural celebrations, and in-game entertainment to create a full experience. It's not just, you're not just selling a basketball game. It's the whole escape. It's the whole experience for the night, pretty much. That's what it is. It's the entertainment for the night. And then just similar to what we see in baseball as well as the Blue Jays, fans come for more than just, 9 innings. They come to disconnect. They come to enjoy the atmosphere. They come to, just get away from their realities. And I just believe that that's really important for everyone to understand and to take in. Yeah. And finally, the bonus question. This is, what do I like about the class? What do I not? So ending this video off, I really enjoy making the video. I personally am not good at multiple choice. I just can't do it. I don't know why. So that's probably something that I'm grateful for that we take in, as well as just kind of different attendance involvements as well. I think that's kind of interesting, just kind of how that all works in those different perspectives. And then, honestly, nothing that I dislike. So, thank you.